Shabbat Shalom Mishpacha. Well, another beautiful Sabbath, and here we are. And I think that it'd be good that we kind of get on with it and look into some things which I think are important, which I may not have discussed before, but here is what I'm going to say. Let's see. Let me look at something here. Okay. Let's start with this. If you don't give to God what belongs to God, then Caesar takes by force. Let me say that again. If you don't give to God what belongs to God, then Caesar will take from you by force. Let the wise understand what that means. Because, often times I hear people complaining about different things, complaining about the economy, complaining about their employment status, complaining about their life in general. But all of that is in vain because it all comes within. It all comes within what you believe. And what you believe, today what you believe will come out in the next week or maybe next month or maybe even the next year. But it will come out. What you believe today will manifest in your future present self. So this is why I often say to my students that try not to bring negative words out of your mouth or in your thoughts, because thoughts create. Whatever your thoughts are, they will create things. Your thoughts become objects. So be very careful of thinking of those things that you desire. Don't think of things that you don't want in your life. Think of things that you do want. See yourself in a prosperous situation. See yourself in a betterment situation. And so last week, I did not go too much into John chapter 8. And John chapter 8 verse 32, the truth shall set you free. We barely kind of looked at that because I'd already gone so much into the lecture. But I said, there was a lot that I could talk about. But since I was already almost an hour into the lecture, I decided not to pursue further. But today, looking at that again in John chapter 8, which speaks about, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So what is the truth? Well, for most people out there who are church-bound, who love to go to churches and are in Christian doctrines, first of all, what I said earlier, ditto, counts. What did I say earlier? I said, if you don't give to God what belongs to God, then Caesar will take it by force. And some of you will understand it, some of you will not. But anyhow, that is knowing the truth. The truth will set you free. Well, most people don't even know what is the truth. They think that Jesus is the truth, Yeshua is the truth. Well, okay, we can say that for a second, that Jesus is the truth, but how does that change anybody's life? How does that change my life? How does that change your life? If Jesus is the truth, then just uttering the words Jesus is the truth doesn't help nobody. Listen, knowledge is fine. Me reading chapter 8 is fine, but me not knowing how to apply it is useless. If I don't know how to apply chapter 8 in my life, I have no use to it. I can remember what John 8:32 says, I can parrot it, but how does it help me? How do I apply it? What is the application of 8:32? And this is where most people fail. They don't know the application of 8:32. Let me give you an example. There was a book written by Napoleon Hill in 1928 maybe it was printed. No, it was printed in 1925, first print. Second print, I think, was 1928, and possibly third print was 1935. Now, what happens, the book that you buy today from Amazon, called the 16 Laws of Success, it has a missing chapter. And that chapter is missing for various reasons. I'm not going to speak conspiracy theories that Henry Ford didn't want it, so that's why he got it removed, or Rockefeller didn't want it, he had it removed. No, I'm not saying any of that. But what I'm trying to tell you is what is truth. And most people don't even know what truth is. So let's talk about you buying this book. 1928 edition, chapter's missing. 1935 edition, chapter's missing. Where is the chapter? The chapter was in the original book called 16 Laws of Success, which was printed and published, the original version, in 1925. Okay? Now, as far as I know, and I could be wrong about it, but you cannot buy that book any longer. The 1925 edition, unless you buy it from a collector who holds that copy, you will not be able to find it in Amazon. They don't have the 1925 copy. They might sell you a modern copy, a revision, and the revision will have chapter 5 missing. What was chapter 5 that I got access to recently? Yeah, I got access to chapter 5 recently. Chapter 5 of the Laws of Success has the title Action. Okay? And I'll give you a little bit from what chapter 5 says. Chapter 5 in that book says knowledge, just knowing knowledge, just having knowledge, and, repeating the phrase knowledge is power is of absolutely no benefit to the person who says it or to anybody else. Until the knowledge is memorized, number one, the knowledge has to be remembered, and number two, it has to be applied. So the implementation of knowledge is the power. And most people that just tout some words they parroted, they recite some words and they parrot them, they absolutely have no power. So Christians going around, I've got nothing against Christians, but Christians going around saying that the truth will set you free, John 8:32, is of no use to nobody. Well, if I don't know the application of Jesus, if I don't know the application of Yeshua, how is that going to set me free? Because you're still in your unconscious state and a robot. You're living unconsciously in this environment that we call the matrix, the hologram that is created through us, through our brains. We are still unconscious and robotic, meaning that since I don't control my thoughts, since I don't control my desires, since I don't control my manifestations, I am living unconsciously in a blind kind of way. So no knowledge is powerful to me. So the truth will set you free? No, it will not. I will still be a slave to the system. What will set me free is when I understand the application of Jesus, how to use Jesus to better my life. Until I understand that application, no amount of knowledge that I claim to have will help me or help my listeners. That is my point. The missing chapter 5 from that book, Laws of Success, it simply shows you that no amount of spewing out of your mouth, knowledge is power, no, it's not. You still won't get off the ground that you're standing on. So, what is power? The implementation of knowledge, that is power. But let me give you a little bit of what power can be like. So let's look at Jesus' life a little bit. In Matthew 26, verse 34, we are told that truly I tell you, this very night, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. Okay? Then we're also told in John chapter 9, verse 4, we must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. Then we are told in 1 Thessalonians 5:7, for those who sleep, sleep at night, and those who get drunk are drunk at night. This passage is exactly what I just said earlier. For those who sleep, sleep at night, and those who get drunk are drunk at night. You might say John 8:32, but you are both drunk and you are both sleeping. You're unconsciously in your spirit dead in your sins. So how do we understand this? Well, let me bring you to something of interest today. The Jewish, I guess the modern Jewish culture, and maybe we can go back to the 2,000 years ago, and the Islamic culture going back 1,400 years ago, they both have lunar calendars. And maybe at some point in history, in Islam it was always a lunar calendar, but in some point in history, first in true Judaism, in Torah Judaism, it was a solar calendar, which was then switched to lunar calendar. Now there may have been several reasons to do that. Again, I'm not here to discuss why the calendar was switched, but let me tell you the difference between day and night. Okay, let me first give you some verses. Psalm 139, verse 11 to 12. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light about me be night, and the light about me be night, even the darkness is not dark to you, the night is bright, as the day for darkness is as light with you. Okay, Psalm 91:5. You will not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day. Psalm 134:1. Behold, bless ye the great I am. Okay, bless ye the I am, all ye servants of I am, which by night stand in the house of I am. Matthew 14:25. And in the fourth watch of the night, Yeshua went unto them walking on the sea. So, and there are more verses, but I'm giving you just a synopsis. Here we go some more. Genesis 28:11 to 12, Bereshith 28:11 to 12. And he came to a certain place and stayed there that night. And he dreamed, and behold, there was a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And by the way, I'm taking these references from the Hidden Truths Hebraic Scrolls, 7th edition. Daniel chapter 7 verse 13. I saw in the night visions, and behold, with the clouds of heaven there came one like the son of Adam. Acts 18:9. And the master at dawn said to Paulus one night in a vision, do not be afraid, but go on speaking and do not be silent. Okay, in Acts chapter 16 verse 25, about midnight, Paulus and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God, to Elohim, and the prisoners were listening to them. Psalm 119:62. At midnight I rise to praise you because of your right ruling rules, or your righteous rules. Luke 6:12. In those days he went out to the mountain to pray, and all night he continued in prayer to Elohim. Okay, so Psalm 91:5-6. You will not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in darkness, nor the destruction that wastes at noonday. Psalm 121:3-4. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. Proverbs 3:24. If you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. Okay, so let's come back. Let's come back to prayer and meditation. What are the best times to pray and meditate? What does Scripture teach us? And, today let me give you the truth. Some of you are maybe going about telling everybody that that Jesus has set you free. Well, I think that a lot of you are still in bondage, because yes, Yeshua would like to set you free, but you need to have the right knowledge and the right application of it. In these days he went out to the mountain to pray. Who? Talking about Yeshua. And all night, listen, all night he continued in prayer to the great I Am, to Elohim. Who continued? Yeshua continued. Jesus continued praying. What time did he pray? Well, he started at night. Isn't that what that says? At night. Why at night? Why not in the day? Why didn't he go at 6 o'clock in the morning and pray all day? Doesn't say that, does it? So there's something about night. What is something about night? Last week I gave you a little hint about the moon. Well, this week I give you more knowledge about the moon. When you pray at night with the moonlight, you have much more power. You generate much more power because a moon is like a magnet. The moon is magnetic. It draws in abundance. It draws in love. It draws in health. It draws in wealth. It has all of those powers. But it's got to be done at night, not at daytime. Many times I have told you to do your particular rituals, and I mentioned that don't do it at sunrise. Do them at sunset. At midnight I rise to praise you because of your righteous rules. At midnight, who? King David. King David said, I rise to praise you at midnight. Why midnight? Because it's the moonlight. The moon has the power. How come he didn't do it midday? Well, we'll go on looking. We'll learn. Again with Paul in Acts chapter 16 verse 25, at midnight Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to Elohim, and the prisoners were listening to them. Who was Silas? Silas, by the way, was a priest. He was from the tribe of Levi. Paul, according to Paulus' testimony, he was from the tribe of Benjamin. Okay? So Silas knew, and of course Paul as well, that praying at midnight means more power to us. This will give us power. That's why when Paul was bit by a snake, he was unharmed. Why? Because he had built up power by praying at night, praying midnight. Midnight is a very powerful time to pray. Remember we looked back and King David said, I rise at midnight to praise you. If you can make that a habit, you will be free. But right now you're not free because you haven't got that habit. So Genesis 28, we are told about Jacob that he came to a certain place and stayed there that night. And he dreamed. And behold, there was what dream exactly? Well, he was praying. Jacob was not just staying there just for fun, or let me have a cup of coffee here. No, he was dreaming when he went into meditation. He went into a meditative state at night under the moonlight, and then he started to dream. He started to have this dream about a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. When did it happen? At night. In Daniel 7:13, Daniel was praying. Just as Jacob was praying, Daniel was praying. And what did Daniel say? I saw in the night visions, and behold, with the clouds of heaven there came one like son of Adam. Well, a lot of the people identify the son of Adam as Jesus. Fine, that's okay. So, when did it happen? In the night visions, under the moonlight, by the way. So, and we're told, and the I Am said to Paulus one night in a vision, do not be afraid, but go on speaking and do not be silent. Acts chapter 18 verse 9. What time? Or what part of the day? Night. Night under the moonlight. So what are we finding now? We are finding that the best time to speak to God and get revelations is nighttime. Okay, nighttime. And we're told in Matthew 26:34, Yeshua said to him, truly I tell you, this very night, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. So Jesus is prophesying to Peter at what time? Nighttime. So he had a prophecy at night to tell Peter that you're going to deny me 3 times. In John 9:4, it says, we must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. So nighttime is associated with what? It's not associated with work. It's associated with rest, with meditation, and with prayer. And with 1 Thessalonians 5:7, for those who sleep, sleep at night, and those who get drunk are drunk at night. Meaning that it's a metaphor. It's used as a metaphor here that people are in stupor at night. For those who sleep, sleep at night. Of course, everybody sleeps at night, isn't it? Isn't that so? Everybody sleeps at night. But it says those who get drunk are drunk at night. Drunk with what? Question mark. Think about what I just said. And we see that in Genesis 1:5, Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning the first day. In Psalm 139:11-12, if I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light about me be night, even the darkness is not dark to you, the night is bright as a day, for darkness is as light with you. What does that mean? God dwells in darkness. Okay, that's what this means. When God dwells in darkness, but God is light. Yes, but God dwells in darkness. He covers himself, hides himself. Because it says, and the light about me be night. Even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is bright as the day, for the darkness is light with you. So God covers those people who understand that God actually stays in darkness. He doesn't reveal himself. Only reveals himself to those that are close to him. In Psalm 91 verse 5, you will not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day. So when does the arrow fly that hurts you? In the day, when the sun is up. That's the time of fire. Sun is representative of fire element. Moon is representative of what? Moon represents the cooler element of water. So you will not fear the terror of the night, meaning that don't be afraid of the night. The night's not going to harm you. The night is actually a blessing to you. But if you want to be afraid of the daylight, when somebody can take a shot at you, spiritually or otherwise. When Mr. Trump was shot, he was shot in the daytime. You know, when his ear was struck by a bullet recently before he became president, it happened in the daytime. Didn't happen at night. When President Kennedy was shot, he was shot in the daytime. The arrow that flies by day. Any leader that was killed, have you noticed that they were all killed in the daytime? Did you notice that? What else happens at night? And if it happens at day is controversial. My marriage with my first wife happened in the daytime, happened in the sunlight, and I lost that marriage. Okay, the reasons I've given you before when we discussed my testimony, that because of my, what I discovered, or when God came to me, that caused the fracture. But that was just a reason. But let me tell you something else of interest. Those people that get married in daytime, they are likely to get divorced. Write this down from me today. Yeah. Those people who get married at daytime in the sun, they are likely to get divorced. They will have fights in their homes. Why? Because they married at the wrong time. The sun is an element of fire. If you marry under the element of fire, you're going to have problems in your marriage. And maybe I'm not saying definitively that every marriage will end in divorce, but the majority do. Let me tell you my family situation. And I don't know yours, but you can go and look in your mind and ask yourself what I just said. Is it true or not? My sister was married for 26 years to her husband, but the marriage happened in daytime. Okay? She ended that marriage in divorce after 26 years. Think about what I just said. She married in the daylight, in the sun, fire element. I have my wife's. Listen to this now. I married my wife back home in the night time. Why? Well, we'll look at the why now. When you marry at night, you secure your marriage. You will never divorce your wife. Okay? So from here on, remember, when you marry your children, never marry them in the daylight. Always make sure that you do the ceremony at night. If it's your church pastor doing it, or if it's the what office that does it. I don't know if they open at night, but don't do it at night. Anybody that comes to me for marriage will have to be at night time. I will not marry anybody in the daylight ever again. So I'm giving an example. My wife's brother, he got married about 2 years ago, maybe just over 2 years ago with his wife, but the marriage happened around 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I was present in that marriage, and today he and his wife often quarreling and fighting. Why? Because of the marriage was in the daytime, during the sun hours. Now you might ask that if you got married in the daytime, can you do something about it to avoid divorce? Yes, but I'm not going to speak about that. But I'm only giving you the symptoms of what's going on and why people are getting divorces. All over the world, people who marry in the daytime are fighting and quarreling and ending up in divorce majority of the time. Why? Because they married at the wrong time. You must never marry in the daylight. You must never spend your day praying. You must spend your night praying. Remember that. Always spend your night praying. You know how many times I've spent my night praying? Back in the UK, before I came to the US, I spent so many nights praying. When I came to the US, I spent so many nights praying. I wouldn't pray in the daytime. I would pray only at night. And you know when my prayer started? Midnight. That was my time, midnight. When somebody asked me, can you pray for me, Cohen? I'd say, yes, I will pray for you. And you know when I would pray for them? Midnight. That's why they'll get their thing. Because I knew the power of midnight prayer. So it's an instruction, and it's a word to the wise. If you have a business and you want to make a business decision, and somebody's asking you to do something in the business, or maybe business partnership, never give an answer in the daytime. Always tell them, let me think over it. I'll answer you in 2 days' time, but I will answer you at night. Yes, never answer at daytime. Your business will be a failure if you do. If you answer at the night, you give yourself 1 day, 2 days to think, and then answer that person at night. You will be successful. Things don't just get charged. If you have a bracelet, if you have a stone, if you have your beads, I encourage you today to take your beads at night and put them outside in the moonlight and charge them for 1 to 2 hours. And if you want to make your money powerful, here's a tip for you. If you want to make your money powerful, if you want money to attract money like a magnet, take a $10 note out of your wallet if your currency has a 10. If it doesn't, then whatever denomination you have of your currency, take that and place it outside in the moonlight and let it charge for 1 to 2 hours every night. Do it for 40 days, 40 nights. 40 nights, put your currency, whatever currency you have, if it's a $10, if it's a 20 in your currency, or a 50, put it outside. Or 1,000, put it outside. And let it charge for 1 to 2 hours in the moonlight. That money will become magnetic. It will draw money to itself. Start doing that from tonight. And you might ask the question, what if I don't see the moon? Absolutely no problem. Still put your money outside. Moon is there. It's just not visible. Whether it's visible or not visible, charge your money, charge your bracelets that you wear, charge your rings, charge your beads, everything outside in the moonlight for 40 days. They will become very powerful. If you want to chant your affirmations, if you want to speak an affirmation, I am rich, I am wealthy, I am a millionaire, etc., I am healthy, whatever affirmation you define for yourself, go outside and stand whilst it's moonlight. Whether the moon is visible or not, it doesn't matter because moon's always there. It's just not showing because of clouds. You stand there and do your affirmations. Your affirmations, if you do your affirmations 108 times, standing outside in the moon, under the moonlight, they are 100 times more powerful than doing it inside in the sun. More so, if you find it's a full moon, you have the calendars, you know when it's the full moon, and if you don't know, you can always Google it and ask when is the full moon. So when is the full moon, you go stand underneath the moon and chant your affirmation inside your head or by mouth, or you whisper it. If you don't want anybody to hear it, you whisper it, but do it under the moonlight. Your affirmation will be tremendously powerful. When the moon is full, it is at full force energetic. It gives out a lot of energy. You want to grab some of that energy. It's absolutely tremendously great. In Psalm 134:1, we are told, "Behold, bless ye the I am, all ye servants of I am, which by night stand in the house of I am." So the priests would stand at night in the temple and praise God. It doesn't say they stand in the daytime. Sure, you might say, well, what about festivals? Yeah, it happened. In the festivals, we had a daily service. We had a service in the daytime with the festival, but more so we did it at night. Remember Yom Kippur? Starts at night. Remember every other festival? Starts at night. According to present and 2,000-year-old Judaism. Why? Why? Because the moon is more powerful. That's why. So, and it says in Matthew 14:25, and in the fourth watch of the night, Yeshua went on to them walking on the sea. What's the fourth watch of the night? Well, he went at night time, he was walking on the sea. Nighttime. Nighttime is more powerful. So, what about the moon? What other things can I tell you about the moon? Let me tell you something else about the moon. If there's a woman who is not having conception, she wants to give birth to a child, but she cannot give birth to a child. She's tried all the medicines in the world. Gone to the doctor 50 million times. Doctor can do nothing for her. He keeps giving her medicine this and medicine that, but she's still not healed. What should she do? She should go out every night and sit under the moon. She should sit under the moon for 40 nights. She will give birth to a child. She will conceive, or if a woman keeps losing her pregnancy, she keeps having miscarriages, she should sit under the moonlight. The miscarriages will go away. Things will become forever good for her. If you have a business that keeps failing, you keep trying, it keeps failing. Okay, now what you do, you go out there in the moonlight and you sit and you pray in the moonlight for that business. And your business will start to succeed. It'll start to prosper. Okay? What else can I tell you about the moon? Many, many wonderful things I can tell you about the moon. Many, many wonderful things. First of all, the moon is mentioned in the Bible perhaps hundreds of times. We are told in Genesis 1:16, God, Elohim, the great I Am, made two great lights, the greater light to govern the day, and the lesser light to govern the night. Then we are told He also made the stars. In Psalm 104:19, He made the moon to mark the seasons. The sun knows its time for setting. So the seasons, meaning all of our festivals were meant to happen at, from, as you know, modern Judaism does that, they start from the night time. So, more so the moon, they use the moon to do the marking of the festival. In other words, in the Islamic culture, they only start their Ramadan fast if they see the moon. They only do their festival if they see the moon. Similarly, in Judaism, they only start the season with the moon. So the moon has a very important place. In Psalm chapter 8, Psalm 8, verse 3, we are told, 3-4, when I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars, which you have set in place, what is mankind that you are mindful of them? In the book of Job, chapter 31, if I have regarded the sun in its radiance, verse 26, or the moon moving in splendor, so that my heart was secretly enticed, then this would be a sin to be judged. We're also told in the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 31, the sun shall be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the great and awesome day of Elohim, of the great I Am to come, or as they call it, day of the Lord. In Revelation chapter 6 verse 12, I watched as he opened the sixth seal. There was a great earthquake. The sun turned black like sackcloth made of goat hair. The whole moon turned blood red. In Psalm 89:37, moon is a constant witness to us. It says it shall be established forever like the moon, and the witness in the sky is faithful. The moon is a faithful and reliable witness. That means that anything you do under the moonlight is guaranteed to win. Guaranteed to win. You'll do great works if you understand this one simple point. If you have a child and the child is slow in education, he's slow to study, slow to understand, what you do is you place water in a jar and you place the jar under moonlight and let it charge under moonlight for the whole night. In the morning, start feeding that water to the child. The child will start to develop and start to become brighter and start to become more knowledgeable and intelligent. If a man, I hear people talking to me and saying to me that they are having financial hardships, having trouble with jobs, then this is what you do. You go to the moonlight, you sit on the moonlight, and you recite your Shema Israel. Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. And what you do, not to make it harder for you, but make it very easy, and you can do it in English as well. You don't need to write it in Hebrew. You can just write it in English, and all you do is you write 35 times, praise God, or praise Elohim. Whichever you choose is fine. Both will work. Praise God. Praise God. Praise God. Write it 35 times and keep it in your wallet. It will charge your money, and if you were poor, you'll come out of poverty. Do it for 40 days, 40 nights. You will not see poverty ever again. If a man is on drugs or a drug addict and he won't give up his drugs, you do the same thing you did for the child who was, hard of learning. You place your water bottle, in a glass container in the moonlight, and you give that water to the man for 40 days. He will lose his drug addiction. If you have a court case pending and you want to win that court case, So what you do the same thing that we did for the child. You put the water outside under the moonlight and you drink it every day for 40 days. Also, you do your prayers in the moonlight and you will win the court case. Also, remember that when we had the California fires, I don't know if you saw the videos that we put on social media, that there was a house that had a blue paint on it, and all the other houses had other colors, and the house that had the blue paint survived. There was a blue color car parked outside that house, and every other car burned to cinders, and the blue color car survived. So, what does that teach you? Blue is a heavenly color. We don't have the sky for blue for no reason. Wear blue. Write with blue pen. And wear blue. Write all your affirmations, all your journals with blue pen. From henceforth, blue is your color. Also, put blue on your house. If you ever paint your house, paint it sky blue. If you wear clothes, try to wear light blue or any shades of blue clothes. They are much more blessed and they're much more powerful. A husband and wife that sit in the sunshine and sit under the sun, they will always be fighting. Notice that in the Western world, these couples that go to beaches and they lie in the beach like it's some kind of, panacea, it's not a panacea. It's actually asking for disaster. I've never done that. You're asking for disaster because you'll be fighting with that wife. The wife will be fighting with you. Anybody that sits under the sun will be fighting with each other. So how to avoid fights with your wife? Sit under the moonlight together. Your fights will disappear. Your marriage will strengthen. Also, if you don't have a dryer, and if you put your clothes outside in the sun to dry, then those clothes will absorb all the sunlight. All the energy from the sun they will absorb. And when you wear those clothes, you will generate more anger. And you'll be fighting with your relatives, with your wife, with whoever near you all the time. So what's the solution? Don't dry your clothes in the sun. Either you use a dryer or you dry your clothes inside your home without the sunlight. There are ways to do that. You can put on a small heater and dry your clothes, or there's other methods like a dryer. If you have a dryer, you can use that. If you don't have a dryer, you can put a little heater in the room and let the heater dry the clothes, but don't put them out in the sun to dry, otherwise you're asking for trouble in your marriage or with your relationships. In fact, I would say the better way to dry your clothes is dry them at night. If you don't have the rain, you put your clothes outside on your lines at night and let them dry under the moonlight. You will get the best energy for yourselves. If you work in the office, if you're in the corporate world or any other job that you do, start wearing blue clothes. Make a habit to have blue shirts and blue ties, any shade blue. When I was back in the UK in the corporate world, when I was working in the banks, I always wore blue shirts, always. Blue shirts and shades of blue with my ties. Beautiful. Looked beautiful. I was calm all the time. I was energetic, and I still am, and everything worked out smoothly. So this is a tip for you, pro tip. Start doing what I'm telling you. Start blue clothes. Ladies, shades of blue. Men, shades of blue for your office wear. Or even if you are a truck driver, you can wear a blue t-shirt, shades of blue. Pants, shades of blue. Do you know when I first came to America, how many times I left? I went out to venture American states and I drove at night time. I never left in the daytime. I always left at night. I made a habit to drive at night time. Why? Because I would be gathering the moon's energy. I would drive whole night. Absolutely no problem. And I'll be charged. I'll be charged by the moon's light all the night. And I could go on for 24 hours, no problem. I could drive for 24 hours and I had no problem. And I did. I drove from Florida to New York in 24 hours straight. But I started the journey at night. Whenever I started my journey, even today, if I start my journey, I always start at night. So make this a motto. Whenever you travel, if you need to go another country, if you need to go another city, always start your journey at night. You will not only have a peaceful journey, but you will be charged by the moonlight. That's the best for your health. If those of you who are trying to get a visa to another country, let's say you're in the third world, and you're trying to get to another country, and your visa is being refused, then what you do is this. You take your passport and you place it in the moonlight every day for 40 nights. Then you go get your visa, or you apply for your visa, and you're going to get your visa. It's going to come with success. And, lastly, as I said earlier, let me repeat that again. If you're having financial troubles, you're having some kind of financial problem, money is short, then what you do is get your denomination of your currency, whether it's a $10, $20, $50, $100, any of those notes. And what you do is you place it outside in the moonlight for 14 nights. Then do not spend that note. You put it in your wallet. That note is now charged like a magnet, and the note will draw wealth towards itself. The moon will charge it, and your financial problems will start to disappear. Slowly and slowly, the financial problems are gone. Try it, and you will see the power that I'm telling you. So with that, I'm not going to make it any longer. I think this is enough. I've given you enough knowledge and information to better your lives. So start practicing it. Remember what I said. The chapter that was missing in the book Law of Success was the chapter called Action. I want you to go into action, and every one of you that has a problem, whether it's financial, whether it's marital, whether it's health related, I want you to start acting on it using the moon, the power of the moon. And you're going to see how things going to change around, turn around, and be and work for your benefit. Start applying the principles today, and you will never look back again. So have a wonderful Sabbath, and until next week, shalom, shalom to you.